Now we're live with Faz Radio. The rest of the people are muted, and I hear Nate laughing, even though he's still muted. Now he's unmuted.
I was laughing because you were talking and you were muted yourself. So.
I know, and I said that. Now I was muted. Anyway, welcome to Faz Radio. We have lots of stuff going on right now. Here, let's make me bigger than everybody else. There we go. We have a number of things that happened this week that are going to be interesting, and let's hope that we stay on the rails today.
Nope. Sorry.
Today we have Mr. Forged in Crypto with us, and one of his, I won't say it, one of his coworkers, Betty or B, 99.
I think you could say employee.
One of his stooges, Betty or B, 99, and he's going to be showing us a new game called Bigtime, which I then got to make a new banner for. Oh, here's my ticker right here. So see, we're going to have some P2E gameplay on Bigtime. So we're going to stream that while we're doing our thing. And I'm going to add that right. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that neat?
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That I did not mean to do that. I think somebody else picked that button.
My hands aren't on it.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what you're doing?
Hands on the desks, guys.
There we go.
I can shake my bottle again.
No, thank you. Let me mute you really quick. Go for it. All right.
Just don't turn your back and shake your bottle, okay?
Fine, I'll unmute him. Titan, can you give us an idea of what we're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely. So we have a whole host of topics. We are talking about the flurry of Gala announcements, what they mean, opinions, comments, satire, and sarcasm abound. We also wanted to throw out some breaking news about an exchange that caught the eye of the SEC. And
Quick,
of course,
cue that up, Miss Producer.
Of course, we also want to talk about the long-awaited, over 2 years in the making, Flare Airdrop, because people are absolutely losing their minds on Twitter about this, and they don't even know what they're talking about.
And the proposal of there's a change proposal in for the Flare Airdrop. Apparently, Flare wants to change the rules again. We should talk about that.
Well, that's why they're losing their minds, because people think they're losing and they're really not. They just have to do something first.
They have to earn it. Okay, so let's do our breaking news because it's already been queued up here.
All right, cool.
There we go. And we can't see that unless I full screen it. There we go.
Nice.
Is that better or is this this better? This one's slightly bigger.
It's bigger
okay.
that way.
So this was provided to us by Forged in Crypto, who apparently has his nose up the butt of Twitter and has seen this, and so he decided to pass it our way. So the SEC charges Genesis and Gemini for the unregistered offer and sale of crypto asset securities through the Gemini Earn Lending Program, which I find kind of funny because Gemini has gone out of their way to comply as much as possible with crypto rules, and now they're being curb stomped while they're down because obviously this Earn program fell apart. And that Earn program is run by what? Can you go up to the top again? What are they called again? Genesis Digital? Genesis, who is owned by Barry Silbert, right?
It's one of his companies, yeah.
Grayscale. So, you'd think Grayscale would be like cool and like top of the line. So what happened?
Oh, the SEC happened.
Well,
the SEC happened.
So basically, if you crow about anything, the SEC is going to go after you. Or in this case, if you crow about anything that's going wrong. So that's just going to teach crypto companies to not say anything when things go wrong.
Well, they already went through a mess because they put on their famous smile and said, "Hey, come talk to us and we'll
and then
help
they shank you.
Get registered if you think you're a security." And then that went to hell quickly, as we know.
Oh, yeah, come on in. We'll help you out.
Yeah. Why do you think you're a security? Well, because of this. Wrong. Shut down. Well,
Why
what
do
did
you
we
think
do
you're not-
wrong? Why can't you figure that out? Shut down again.
Well, no, it's the way I like to put it is basically you're driving downtown and you're looking for a place to park and you see a cop and you say, "Hey, Mr. Policeman, can you tell me where I can park?" And he'd say, "Well, park somewhere and find out." Or is it legal to park here? And he says, "Park here and find out." I mean, and then you get a ticket as soon as you try to park. And it's not a small ticket either. It's like they take your fucking car kind of thing.
I mean, this is ridiculous. They treat the government agencies here in the U.S. are treating people as though they're children, and all they're doing is just smacking everything and beating it and crushing things instead of actually helping the development of this, right? The other countries around the world are all in serious talks about how to regulate it, what works for banks, what works for people, what works for governments. And all that's happening here is they're wrapping a baseball bat with razor wire and swinging it, whatever they see moving. And that is a load of shit. I am so mad about this.
You highlighted that spot, Faz. It says we allege that Genesis and Gemini offered unregistered securities to the public.
That's not me. That was our producer.
So the producer, who's doing an awesome job. So my question there is, how is it that it's just Genesis and Gemini, and not Coinbase, not Kraken, not? I mean, Coinbase offers every coin under the world. Like they were the new Binance last year, just listing every damn thing in the world. So how are they not under investigation or whatnot? Like I don't. What is it? Is it the actual earn mechanism that's the security? Is that it?
That's kind of what we're reading this for the first time. I saw it when I left work, and the first I saw of it on the Twitter feed was like 3 p.m. is when they announced this. So, we're reading the details for the first time live here. Sections 5A and 5C of the Securities Act. So if someone's got a browser open to find out what sections 5A and 5C mean, that might help us figure out what the hell they're doing that, including under our whistleblower program. So someone was a snitch, and
Probably
I
on
don't
the
know.
Genesis side because people.
Well, yeah, they're getting harassed.
Well, they screwed over. What is it? They screwed over
Everybody.
BlockFi, wasn't it?
Oh,
No. I'm sorry. That was our buddy Sam that screwed over BlockFi because they moved from Genesis to FTX.
Well, there was Tyler and Cameron, the Gemini twins, who
The Winklevi.
started the Winklevi. They started Gemini. They put two scathing letters together
Your video's gone.
demanding Genesis.
I know.
Demanding Genesis come out and pay them back the $900 million. So yeah, they raised awareness around themselves, and this is what they get for trying to do the right thing by their customers. They're trying to collect. Gemini is pushing hard to collect that money. They're trying to keep them out of bankruptcy because they're accusing Barry Silbert or Seabird or whatever his name is. Silbert of trying to stall for time to allow this to go into bankruptcy so they don't have to pay the money back. So there's like a lot of as you like to put it, Faz, castle intrigue going on here.
Castle intrigue.
Palace intrigue.
Castle, whatever it is.
I've apparently lost some money off of Genesis Gemini Earn. So the question is, can I claim that for taxes in 2022, or do I have to wait until all this bankruptcy stuff happens? The losses, claim the losses.
You can do whatever you want. It just depends if they agree with you.
Yeah.
Why no? You shouldn't have been investing in it to begin with. Where's your license, buddy?
You're not going to see that stuff for 2 decades.
Good. I wonder what Bitcoin will be worth at that time.
It won't be. You won't get Bitcoin. You're going to get the U.S. dollar
Value
amount.
as of
Yeah.
the date they decide.
So
yes.
that's what they're talking about with the Mount Gox, right? So Mount Gox happened so long ago that even though they had a bunch of Bitcoin that was stolen off of their their site that Bitcoin's increase in price so much, they've been able to cover all their losses with what's left in the Bitcoin treasury.
I thought Mt. Gox, they had to return the Bitcoin, not return the money. You're saying they had to return the money?
That's what I was hearing recently. Yeah, it's all on based on USD, the USD value at the time. Now, that's just the latest one that I heard. So I think that was like last week, but.
Yeah, that is a mess. They keep trying to delay that. They keep trying to come up with other ways of worming their way out of giving all that back to the people. And this industry tries to help itself, and everything keeps getting in the way. Somebody else throws a lawsuit up to block it because they feel it isn't fair. And all it does is create headaches. Just let these companies do what they need to do to get people the relief they should be getting. They're showing that they can't regulate themselves. That's the big fear here. We want less regulation from a federal and a state level. But if you keep showing that the industry can't regulate itself, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. It's messed up either way you look at it, the whole thing. I don't know.
Okay, so section 5. So what they're saying is this, they're talking about the transfers here. So they're basically saying that it was because it was transferred off the platform. Prohibit any person from using the mails or interstate means to offer, sell. Yeah, so that's kind of what they're going at. All this stuff, as we've learned, and Faz and I have talked about it on regular Faz Radio before a lot. This stuff is so ridiculously broad to give the regulators as much leeway in finding a reason to sue. Burden shifts to the person claiming from the registration availability of claimed exemption. Right. So they're also saying here the violation and burden of proof then shifts to the company for their exemption of registration to the availability of the claim. So they're saying that you have to, it's not on the SEC to prove that they did something wrong. The burden of proof now goes on to Gemini and Genesis to prove that they didn't do something wrong, which is against everything typically America stands for.
Innocent until proven guilty, or right? Like what
now they're now guilty until proven innocent, and if they can't prove it reasonably, they're going to be found guilty. And
it's the SEC that's basically going to say, nope, that's not enough. Yep, you're guilty.
Well, and that's why I personally am so against this regulation, because it's this example right here that shows us how stupid regulation gets. And you don't need that when you have good code running the networks and good actors who are actually trying to do good things, right? So you have a crypto bank, let's say, that's going to use smart contracts as CDs, as a replacement for CDs. They have regulated, audited contracts. You don't need hard regulation for something like that. You need one little layer of oversight that says the bank isn't screwing the customer, the customer can't screw the bank. We've audited, we've verified. That's the end of regulation as you need it, in my opinion. My opinion is not always the opinion of the masses, though.
So are
you were
we
kind
done?
of talking one quick thing I just want to point out that ER Crypto that you posted on there was that it was written in 1933, and that's exactly what Titan was saying. It's like, it's a different mode, right? It's a whole different vehicle, so they can't really use the same section of securities to go against a completely different basically technology to do this stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it was, I will say, so after going through all my registrations when I was registered and selling and supervising and all that stuff, the intent back then really was to protect investors. What they've done with it since is to create a juggernaut. And just like every typical government program, it just kept expanding. And they kept in the stuff that really helps them get the outcome that they desire. Right now, basically all this is today is a means to extort companies out of doing what they want to do. That's what it feels like, at least.
Well, it seems that that's how the SEC likes to regulate. And so it's not just crypto that they do that with, it's everything. I mean, since when does the SEC take a hard position on anything? I mean, they just say, I can't comment on that, and each person or each company gets treated differently. So if anything, I think people have a problem with the concept. It's like, if your job is to define what a security is, yet you don't define it, what good are you? They're just looking for fear to solve all their problems.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt they're afraid of crypto, right? Anything that challenges the stranglehold they have on the fiat system is going to be a huge priority for them to get their fingers in, not only to collect that, what they deem as their reasonable share of those assets, but they fear it mainly because they can't control it. And they don't want people to be able to escape that system that they took 200 years to develop, so that they've kind of got you by the short hairs and can control how things work. I think that is the biggest part of the whole thing, and that is the furthest from what the founders of this country wanted. And I'm not going to stray too far, but what I will say is Faz and I had an offline discussion earlier this week, and I made that comment, and of course it started a back and forth, but the Constitution was put in place so that it told the government what powers they had. It wasn't designed to give the government powers so that they could expand it on the colonies or on the country. And now we're kind of stuck in this paradigm, and they have everybody believing that it's the government that makes the rules and the people have to challenge it, where it should be the other way. It was designed to be the other way, where the people have all the powers. The government has to prove why they need that power. I think this is a glaring example of why that system has gone backwards, and people, I hope, are going to wake up to this at some point and say, you know what? With this crypto, we're not doing this anymore. This is designed to let people enjoy the technology that's available, to tap into the human element of transforming things that are old and broken and don't work so well into something that's fantastic. And also have some fun with playing games, blockchain games, and blockchain projects that can do tasks like OpenAI. This is a place that we need to expand.
Agree. The interesting part is when you talk about the SEC going after just anything that threatens their modus apparatus, or however you say it, right, is what's the gaming industry going to look like, right? There's no real tie to, I mean, since we're all here vested heavily into the gaming side of things, what does that look like? Do you think that's going to be a big thing coming into the gaming side of things? I mean, they're probably going to want to get their hands into everything they can to get some sort of money from it. So,
well, they'll tie whatever coins, tokens, or rewards that are part of that. They're going to try and get their fingers in there. They just care about making the money. They care about controlling how that money is distributed, right? And one of the big points was brought up very, very early, like 2.5 years ago, when this finally had enough traction to catch Congress. I'm pretty sure it was Senator Warren that started speaking out about that. And one of the things that she said was the comment about the shadowy supercoders and it's all illicit. Guys, blockchain's the worst place for illegal activity. It can be traced. It can be followed. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. The moment I heard that comment come out of whatever congressperson that was, I knew instantly they had no idea what they were talking about. Because cash is your best way. You don't want traceable assets when you're doing illegal things. Regardless, even if it's a pseudonymous address, eventually everybody screws up. Everybody. You can hold an address for 20 years. At some point over that 20 years, someone's going to do something stupid when they're tired or drunk or not paying attention, and they're going to slip up and they're going to have that wallet identified.
I think the FBI is upset that everybody's figuring out that it's actually more traceable than not. So
you may not be wrong there.
no, I mean, yeah, because they had a heyday. I mean, being able to, you could track everybody all day long. Like all the list, everybody thought it was the ghost money. You can never track anything. I still talk to people to this day that, whenever I'm talking to them about blockchain and how it works, they're just like, wait, you can see every transaction? I thought it was all hidden and like secretive. And I'm like, no, it's the exact opposite. It's the literal exact opposite. It's funny,
well, there are ways to hide things, but it becomes very obvious. Like, okay, look, this money's going to Tornado Cash, and then, or it's going to Monero or something like that. So at that point, you could then go after the person and then they could try to deal with that fact. But most everybody else, I mean, the companies that are operating in this stuff, I don't see big time games using Monero as their coin.
Look at that transition. Look at that transition.
Love it.
Wow. So what are we doing here, Mr. Beddy RB? We haven't heard much from you today.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm just kind of getting into it more. I'm running around looking for a portal right now. For those looking, this is Bigtime.
So this is the game called Bigtime. So it's a game called Bigtime by Bigtime.
Yep, Bigtime Studios created this game called Bigtime. I know, it's sick.
How can you even run this thing?
It is a, it's an RPG based game where you can play across multiple character sets. And, so what's cool about this is, I'm in the same timeline. Okay. I'm in this place and time right now. If I go to here, right now I'm the warrior class. I'm like the heavy hitter. I can switch over to a mage or this is my ninja class. And I'm in the exact same place that I just was, but now I'm level 3 on my other character, and I'm using different sets of weapons and different skill attributes. And really cool about it is it's not pay to win, and that's my favorite thing about it. I think, blockchain games, as we've seen, tend to lean towards, if you pay more for an NFT, you're gonna be able to play the game at a higher level and enjoy it at a higher level. And that really discourages the majority of gamers in the ecosystem, I think. So I think this could be a really valuable ability, not only to help onboard people.
Get your guy close, dude. Come on.
Now he is. I'm sorry. So see, now I'm, my mage type and I'm casting spells, but no, it's fun. I mean, try to find a portal so I can get into a dungeon. Oh, I can do this one. I'm way under level, but whatever.
Go die, dude. I mean, this is alpha.
Yes, this is a early access. Only VIP pass holders are able to get in right now, and those can be purchased on the Bigtime website, or you can potentially acquire them, I guess, also through being a part of a guild. There's multiple guilds out there, public Discord servers and stuff of people who are trying to build their own internal communities within the Bigtime community. And I think some of them are able to, they might have some that they're giving away or some type of promotional campaign thing. But right now it is in an early access stage. The next round of beta access will be invite only. And I believe that's going to be those who have been in the Discord for an extended period of time. What's cool is, it's a big community. The Discord has.
So you're basically telling a bunch of people who've just heard about this that there's no way that they can really get in on this unless they have been the chosen selected people. How can they get in on this?
So, I mean, if you want to buy your way in right now, you can buy your way into an early access. That being said, since it isn't pay to win, the only real benefit to getting in early is, if you've been around the community for a while and you've been passionate about this project and you're excited for it, I mean, that's obviously one good reason to enter.
Can you buy your way in on the website or buy an NFT off of OpenSea?
You can, yes. So if you go to bigtime.gg, you can be directly linked over to their main marketplace, which is through OpenLoot. They do have an official NFT marketplace on OpenSea as well that you can get. There's a link both on their Discord and on their website for that. But yeah, if you go to their direct link of OpenLoot, you'll be able to see I believe it's the Jade Access Passes are the cheapest option right now to be able to get into the ecosystem. But they haven't fully announced a timeline of when they expect this to become, fully public, free to play. But that is going to be the end goal, to where, anyone, regardless of your experience in blockchain games, can just install this as like a regular game client and get in and play.
All right.
So we talked at the beginning here with our headline being, is Bigtime comparable or better than Gala Games? You've played a lot of the alphas that Gala has put out. How does this compare to some of the stuff Gala's put out?
So, I mean, I think it's hard to compare to, right now, this is a single game. Granted, I think Bigtime Studios is going to be more than just Bigtime itself, but it's tough because, it's not like Bigtime Studios has I'm getting destroyed right now. Why'd you tell me to come in here, Nate?
I told you
for
to go
that
die.
reason.
Go die.
Get me out of here. I think what I think is really cool about this is they are very focused on players and the community being the creators, right? The CEO and founder of Bigtime Studios is the co-founder and prior CEO of Decentraland. So, when you look at in terms of, just providing utility to the consumer that they can, run with, they do a really good job it's an open slate. It really is. You can be involved in the community as you wish to be. Because all of the NFTs are going to be cosmetic based NFTs and they aren't going to impact gameplay on a pay to win level. The community is going to be the ones crafting those NFTs, selling them on secondary marketplaces. And I think that's the really cool piece is you don't have to necessarily be involved in the blockchain side of things if you don't want to be. So from a front facing perspective, it's so open and engaging to players. I mean, right now, not necessarily, but once it is and it's free to play, when it's fully launched.
Well, it's kind of set up like CryptoFaz a bit, right?
Exactly. It's one of those things where CryptoFaz, for you don't know, is it's another blockchain project that's going on right now that basically allows you to have as much custody over your assets as you want to. If you want to keep everything stored internally in their own system that they provide custody for, go for it. If you want to put them in your own wallet, go for it. With Bigtime, it's not quite that way right now. They actually have a patent for their vault system. So they custody everything from NFTs to the time token. Granted, that time token isn't ever going to be a exchangeable token. Like, you're not going to be able to sell it on a marketplace. It is only going to be used basically as for database purposes in the creation
of the cosmetic NFTs for you.
Yes, but if anytime you go to, if you want to withdraw that NFT, you can immediately list it on a marketplace like OpenLoot or OpenSea.
Well, and
it is interesting.
You essentially have to mint it too. It's much like the treasure chest of Gala. Like, it doesn't actually exist until you mint it, right?
Mm-hmm. So wait, so you can comparing it to Gala, because a lot of our audience here is Gala. You're saying you can use it in game and leave it there, like it's in your treasure chest or maybe on the Jiri network.
Yeah.
But if you want to sell it, you just flip a button and it goes over to your wallet and you can drop it on OpenSea and sell it.
Correct. And
Wow.
they have a patent for it. I read through it this morning. I mean, it's in depth. It's in that infographic that we released earlier today. Or no, it's in the article on our Medium page.
Yeah, it's in the Medium page.
It's full-fledged out, and their justification behind it was the majority of gamers, which I've spoken to a lot of my friends who are big gamers, but they're not necessarily blockchain gamers. That's the type of system they need to be onboarded.
By the way, shout out to Anthony RA for pointing out that patent.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Because that is a big part of it. Is there's a lot of people who want to come play fun games. That's it. They don't want to worry about moving assets. They don't want to worry about storing private keys and recovery phrases and whatever that may be. They just want to play the game. And so, similar to a model like Fortnite or Valorant, you can just come into the game, defeat enemies, and you'll earn NFTs just by playing. You'll earn skins, or whether it's, armor or gear or something that you can put in your own personal metaverse that they have in the game, which I'll show you in a minute after I'm out of this dungeon thing.
Looks like you're just running in circles.
Yeah, because it's hard to focus.
Just trying not to die.
I'm trying to talk. And
trying to talk about this and play at the same time. Now you see why we don't play spider tanks while we're.
It makes it difficult for sure. I have a respect for streamers. Yeah, it is one of those things to where you can come in, play, earn, and if you just want to leave it at that, you can leave it at that. You don't ever have to put money into the system. You don't ever have to pull money out of the system. You can just play it as a game. But those that want to be involved in the economy can do that. They can provide the cosmetic NFTs to the players. They can be those upgrade mechanics that, make the skins glow a certain way. And, that's all going to be done in-game through their utility NFTs.
So I promised sarcasm at the beginning of the cast today. So you're telling me that you don't need an L1 blockchain, you don't need separate tokens, you don't need to have sales of NFTs continually.
And it's centralized, and he likes it that way.
And you have the ability to do all the same things you can do with all those other big, heavy machinery moving parts, and be able to jump in and play the game 3 times as fast. It's optional to engage in the community because they've got their roadmap lined out. Yeah? Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so. When you think about it, it's not that, I feel like people overthink it to a degree. Make a fun game first and people will come. And I think that's what we're really seeing with the Bigtime community is they have the team first and foremost to go the long way with this. They have people who were head project leads at Activision, working on Modern Warfare, working at Ubisoft, EA Sports. They have people that have created high caliber, free to play games. Like some of them have, directly worked with Fortnite and Valorant and some of these big titles. And I think that's where they draw a lot of inspiration from is, okay, how do these games succeed? Well, people like cosmetic skins. Okay, let them sell them to each other. That's the one piece all of those Web 2 games are missing.
So that was exactly my point. So I had my sarcastic moment, but in reality, all right, when you look at this model and how they've put it forward, how in the world then do they have the assets to build something like this and to maintain themselves and become a stronger company without those sales? Was the company funded by
so
VCs?
there still are sales.
How does that work?
So I do want to, because especially right now, since it is in early access and it's not fully free to play at this point, especially for, and I could shift away to that and go to, or if you guys go to the Open Loot website, the big sales are going to come from the space. And that's basically the digital in-game land that I can build on top of this personal metaverse I'm in right now. So I can get a space that will, attach onto this. I don't have any right now, so I can't, grow my room. And then from within that room.
What's the Open Loot website? Is that Open Loot?
Or go to Bigtime. If you go to bigtime.gg, they have a direct link from there. That's probably the easiest way to go to it. And then on the left-hand side, you can filter out the War Park game and click on space. And it will show you the different, space NFTs that are available, which basically just represents digital land.
Openloot.com. Okay, here we go. Let's. I think you're going to have to close that window, producer. Let me do share the window. Hold on. Oh, look at that. There we go.
Yep. So that's the Bigtime website.
Just click on that, I think.
Yeah, you can go to the open loot link at the top.
Yep.
Oh, it's Ruby pass holders can join right now.
Oh,
it's better if I do it on the side here.
There you go.
And then I would go to Marketplace.
I do have some open loot.
And then I would click War Park so it deselects it because it auto selects both those games. That's a different game, not by Bigtime Studios, but one of the other big games that has a direct connection with Open Loot as their main marketplace.
Well, it's the developers of Echoes of Empire, is War Park.
Yep.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So are they only developing their own games, or are they the type that's going to produce other people's games as well?
They're only going to produce their own games from the looks of it. And, because they've even started talking about expansion packs the game's not even fully out and they're already talking about DLCs, and they're already talking about, okay, what's that next step to add complexity to allow people to want to spend 8 hours a day playing this game if they want to. So that's, even if you go to their wiki, it's so thought out. When I look at it,
Open Loot wiki?
Yeah, there's an Open Loot wiki, and it's just full of information. It reminds me of looking at a wiki for like Skyrim or something like that. Like there's lore, there's they talk about every facet of the game along with a
Bigtime wiki.
Yep. Along with there's like a 50-minute walkthrough video, and they go into advanced combat mechanics and, all of the intricacies of the game. And it's so early in the game's history still. Like it's in
And they're teaching you how to play the game before it's even out?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a concept.
No, listen, so that was not sarcasm, because we've been pushing this on some of the other platforms for a very long time. That in order to get people there, they have to onboard them very quickly. Mm-hmm. They have to make it a welcoming place. They have to have the ability to keep the engagement of their community while they're building. And they have to have the ability to teach people how to do it. Because I'm not even a gamer, right? I play games once in a while when we do this stuff. But if I want to know how to play it, I can watch a video, I can learn about all the cool stuff, so when I actually jump in, I'm amped up, I'm excited, I know what the fuck I'm doing when I get there. That's huge. That is a huge open door that invites people in to play, to spend money, to be a part of the ecosystem. That is a huge differentiator.
Mm-hmm. I see where you're coming from on that, Titan, but I'm the exact opposite. I like to find a game and just jump in and figure it out and just go die. I don't want to read it. Once I get to a point where I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? Then I might go read and figure out what I'm going to do.
And that is true. There's a lot of people and I'm the same way, who just go in to just play. It's not most people that read the instructions.
But, if you're not going to put instructions out, you're also leaving those people out that do want to read instructions. So.
Well, the very fact that they exist means when you start asking people things on Discord, people have answers. They're like, oh, yes, just look in the instructions here. Because a lot of times it's easy. So there's something about game design that's important that companies that make websites and make their own applications should learn from. Games are designed to be very discoverable. They're designed to be figured out within a couple minutes. And if not, the game sucks. So if you'll notice any really good game has like a little section where your health is and a little section where the score is, maybe all the things that are important to the game. But when you use a corporate application like your bank website, sometimes you have to click like 6 levels deep to find what you're looking for. It's just like, where's my fucking account number? On the bank, shouldn't that always be at the top of the screen? Things like that. So that's just something important to mention about game design.
Didn't somebody like with Townstar put together a whole wiki for Townstar? Not Gala, but it was somebody in the community.
Yep. That was Andrew E. And I forgot the name of that, but he had there's like a couple Townstar wikis out there.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the community, the people that are playing it all the time, they're great. They find a lot of the loopholes and a lot of the ways to, advance those, gameplay. So I think there was a guy on YouTube who did a lot of videos too. He put out some really good Excel sheets showing a lot of the uses of the NFTs and like what the zones were, like if you have the water, if you have shade. I can't remember his name either, but it was a really good.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yeah, it was a really good guide for people. I mean, I sent that to a ton of people. Yeah, that was great. But I don't know. I think there's room for both ways, people to be able to, get that information that they need, and the community. And much like Bigtime, I'm sure they're gaining a boatload from the community on this, on a lot of the stuff that's happening right now. So,
So I think it's time to change subjects.
Okay. What
sure.
you got?
So what's with the market going? There seems to be a bit of a pump going on right now. Is there any reason for that?
It's dumping now. The pump's over. It's going to zero now.
Oh, again?
Yep.
Which crash is it? I see. It is kind of going down a little.
Unless you're in Magic. Unless you're in Magic. Magic's good.
Well, I mean, they had a new.
XSL is going up. SHX.
I think Treasure has a AMA going on right now with their newest game, actually. That they.
It's the Builder series for Kuroro Beasts is going on right now.
Yeah, so. And that's kind of to me, it looks like a Pokemon style,
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of those pictures are literally look just like Pokemon, like almost copy pasted.
Yes, no, like it looks like a Pokédex. It's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously CPI had a lot to do with it.
Inflation. Your crypto says inflation's improving.
The numbers came in, but everybody knew that. I mean, you can follow it with where it was going. So, but I think we've just been oversold anyway for everything, and we're due for a little bit of a rally at least before the next shoe drops. Cough, cough, real estate at some point in time. I mean,
well, they're talking about a worldwide recession at this point.
We've been in a worldwide recession.
Pushing, yeah.
They've been printing up trillions, hundreds of trillions of dollars around the world for the last 2 years to deal with the pandemic. Yeah, we're going to have this recession. This was going to happen. The problem is the latest administration just helped it along by raising interest rates.
So
did you see? Oh, sorry, Nate. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was watching. So I was up this morning. I'm watching the CPI come through at 6:30. 5:30 this morning, I think is when it came through. And it was like the volatility was insane. Like all of a sudden you just saw greens and reds just back and forth, just going crazy. And I was like, everybody knew this was the number. And then all of a sudden it hits and all the bots start going crazy and buying and selling. And I was just like, what in the hell is going on here? And, we got a good pump out of it, pushed it up a little bit more, and now it's kind of funny because this kind of news probably wouldn't have been big news, months and months ago, but because this is how the feds control the market, and this is what they want to do with crypto also. They want to make it to where when they say jump, everybody says how high. I mean, it's what they don't like about crypto is the fact that they can't right now easily control the market. They'll be fine with it if they could. That's why they want to say that crypto is a security. It's like, okay, if you follow our rules, then you're fine. And their rules, the rules to follow for security is registering them with them and doing what they say. Well, I'm curious to see what Truflation was.
I think it was 5 from 557 or something in that range.
I'll pull it up right now. 555.
Well, you should share that screen then, sir.
Let me pull it up here. All right.
Okay, we got there we go.
Yeah, so you have you see all my websites I'm looking at. I'm trying to go to Alaska.
At least close the porn ones.
Yeah, that's a different computer. I don't do it on this one.
Well, maybe you can magnify it a little bit. Control plus.
Can you not see it?
Well, we could see it.
It won't control plus. Oh, there we go.
There you go. Okay, that's too big, but okay.
So 555, and then the CPI that came through was 6.5. So it's sitting, a point off. And when you go back in time to, and I think we talked about this on my podcast when we talked about the market report, but in March of 2022, it was the highest at 11.97 on Trueflation. The highest it ever hit with the CPI was 9. And I think that was in June. It wasn't until June that it hit that around this time frame. And it's sitting at 11.2. So the difference in March was, I think it was 8.5, somewhere around that time, that point. But it's starting to come together. You can see the the effect of them raising interest rates through the time frame. It's obvious that that's what it's there to do, reduce inflation. It's doing its job, but it's an interesting. This is an interesting site. If anybody wants to look at it, it kind of gives you can narrow it down into the different categories.
Should we have a show with like somebody on Nansen actually looking at crypto trends or crypto wallets and stuff like that?
We do every Monday.
You have a show that does that, huh?
Yeah, we just started it.
Well, I just dovetailed into your show, so why don't you talk about it?
All right. Well, we'll just do a market report Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on if I'm in town or out of town. I like to go out of town a lot.
Not feeling lazy that day. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So just kind of going over the market reports and just looking at what's going on, trends and stuff like that. And
so this is like almost an advertisement for your show.
That's good. It's cross pollinating shows.
I like that. So you're saying because the CPI is up, that's why crypto's up.
No, CPI is down.
Sorry, because it's really, why would the CPI being down make crypto go up?
Well, because they don't think that they're going to raise the amount that they're going to raise interest is going to start to decrease is the idea, because they're showing that all the interest rate increases right now have been pushing the inflation down. And so as it goes down, the actual interest rates will follow it or not be raised as much. I think they're still going to raise it probably a half a point again. I mean, if they go a quarter of a point, I think you're going to see markets go moonshot for a little while. So, but yeah.
So when does that happen? When do they talk about it?
Is it end of January?
Yeah, it's the 27th through 29th, or 29th through 31st, maybe.
Of this month or every month?
This month.
This month.
It kind of changes. It had been in the beginning of the month for a while, but then they changed it off. It's at the end of the month this month. So, but they try to do it every month where they're going to come in. It's funny because now you see it so much on like crypto Twitter or even like, what they call it? Legacy Twitter, finance Twitter.
Yeah.
Like nobody knew what CPI was 2 years ago. Nobody cared. And now you got people waiting and just literally like the day of like, oh my God, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Well, the nice thing about Trueflation is you can get a gauge of where it's at every day and it adjusts itself, and you can kind of see what's going on. And they're taking, information from across the web on all these different they actually take things that we're using, utilities, food and non-alcoholic beverages.
They base it on way more accurate, bundles of goods than what, the CPI is going to do.
Yep.
All right. Who has the lawnmower going on in the background?
It's not me. I'm closed.
I
bet
don't know.
it's
I definitely hear it. From here,
it's Betty or B. It's his fault.
Mute me.
Muted. Don't let that happen again. You can unmute yourself whenever you get muted, by the way. All right. Well, that was good. So is that it? Is that all we got?
No.
Take a look at this tweet. This is an interesting. Pull this tweet up that I just sent in the. It was interesting from one of the biggest.
Share your screen, sir. Be a nice guy. Don't show tabs you shouldn't be showing though.
All right, let's show. Okay, so this was one of the biggest, so Jake here is one of the bigger Web3 gamers. And he came out with his tier list last night from a YouTube video he had where he ranked, in his opinion, the top blockchain games. So, Walking Dead Empires, Superior, Last Expedition, Miranda Spider Tanks. We got a bunch of Gala games right at the top, alongside Champions Ascension.
How is Miranda's up at the top when it's not out, but the others are?
I think it's all based. So I watched a little bit of his video, and it's just based on the potential. I think there's just so many people rooted in Mirandus and believe in Mirandus that it's going to have some level of success just based on the community.
And Axie's all the way down at the bottom now?
Axie's all the way at the bottom. Yeah, I thought that was a little funny. And I was, also I was wondering too, with, this Townstar rating, how up to date is he with all of the changes in the current, what they're doing with Townstar, eliminating Towncoin.
Yeah, he just had a thing about Towncoin. He sounded pretty excited about it too, but he sounds pretty excited about everything.
I do want to, one thing to preface is, he mentions it in his YouTube video. He operates Gala nodes. He has for some time. So he is exposed to that ecosystem. You have to so I always kind of take his ratings with at least some grain of salt. But, the fact that he didn't automatically just throw all the Gala games up at the very top,
Well,
he's
sponsored. He's actually sponsored by Gala Games.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I think he has
He even revealed the amount, $20,000 a month. He said that on the cast.
So he's also sponsored by other ones. Look at his other tweets that he has in there for Jake. And he talks about who he's sponsored by. So, when you're sponsored by somebody and you're putting their games out there as the top games that are out there when they're not even playable, unfortunately,
because he has Gods Unchained on there and on the thing, and that one's been playable for years, right?
It's been playable for a while.
Yeah, Gods Unchained, the logo there. So
yeah,
and I see Alluvium there. So there's some of these games like Axie. I would think that Axie and Gods Unchained would be a bit higher because, well, I don't know. I've never played Axie. Is that game actually fun?
No. Axie was his main wheelhouse in the play to earn side when he was first getting in. He had a town. Yeah, he's got a bunch. I don't know where he posted it, but he basically said, "Hey, I'm sponsored by these companies, just up front." And Gala is obviously one of them. We all know that. So it's tough to take it, as is when you're putting those games at the top. When great if it's on potential, but it shouldn't be. It should be a different category. What's your favorite potential Block 3 game?
What's your favorite game that we're not sponsored by?
Yeah,
that is huge.
Yeah, it's there's bias that's going in there. So,
speaking of bias, we're biased for Nerd Node because Nerd Node is one of our sponsors.
That's my job.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Tekken, go ahead. You have the stick.
No, you had a good segue
no, I'm
there.
The one that flashes this.
With the bias, we are a little bit biased here on Faz Radio, but it's for a good reason because these fine gentlemen are involved with promoting Nerd Node. Nerd Node is the one-stop shop for all of your node needs. If you have nodes that you're running, whether they're for games or for coins or for tokens, they are going to monitor those 24/7, make sure they're up, they're running, and if they're not, find a way to get them running. They offer a guarantee that if their side is at fault for your node being down, they will reimburse you for every single token that you're owed. Take the hassle out of owning a node, hand it off, let them run it for you, nerdnode.io.
Wow,
love it.
your promises are getting bigger and bigger each time. I'm waiting for Nate to just put his hand in his hands after a while. Like, okay,
No,
I
he's
can
100%. No,
okay.
that's he's promising exactly what we do. Like,
Good.
look,
absolutely.
if we miss it, great, we'll pay you out. Like,
So,
that's our fault.
speaking of nodes, Gala, if you own a Gala node, you better switch your nodes over to the newest version as of the 18th of January, or else you ain't going to get no payouts anymore. Or, well, you ain't going to get any payouts. Now, I don't know if Nerd Node takes care of that problem.
We do.
they?
Yep.
Okay.
And we get a hold of people and, just get their API key and set them up and get it transferred over and make sure that it's all up and running. So we've contacted everybody that we have as clients right now, and everybody that's new that comes on, obviously we just start them off on the V3. So there's been a lot of action in the node side the last couple weeks. So
There's a new version, I think, that was posted for Gala nodes yesterday.
yeah.
And that is another huge part of it, right? So when I first switched over to V3, I did it on a Windows box. And let me tell you, Docker is not really compatible with Windows. I was getting a drop every single day, exactly 10 minutes after the clock would reset for that daily node distribution. I pulled out an old Ubuntu box. I got it updated. I threw the V3 on there, and it's been running for 11 days now without a hiccup.
Boom.
And it was actually easier to set up than the Windows side was.
Nice. Really?
Yes, and it got up and running. But for those who do have trouble or maybe only have Windows machines and are experiencing those glitches, guys, drop them at NerdNode. Let them deal with the headache.
Here's the thing, we're happy to run nodes for people, but I fully like the idea of a decentralized network. I mean, that's what we want to do with NerdNode overall. And, I love the ability for people to run their own nodes. Like, I love for the ability to be able to, that was a great thing about Ethereum. There were so many people that would mine Ethereum in their homes, right? Like 2017, even in 18, with your gaming machines and that kind of stuff. I love that. I love the ability for people to do that. And there's a lot of people who, take pride in being able to run their own stuff and do it. Even come into our Discord and ask us questions. Like, if you want to run them yourself, we'll help answer them. Faz has a great channel too with a lot of the node stuff to answer it. So I would first and foremost always have people run your own. That's great. But if you don't want to and you want the hassle taken away, NerdNode's definitely there. So 100%.
All right, enough of that. Nerd Node is the biggest no-brained for any node operator.
Love that guy. He's a Duck fan. Woohoo! Go Ducks.
People outside of Oregon have no fucking clue what the Ducks are. Okay.
Yes, they do. We're a national brand. Come on.
By the way, you got to preface the fact that Betty ORB graduated from the university.
I might be an alum, but
a little biased.
Yes. So apparently, Oregon doesn't have professional teams. We have college teams.
The Ducks are my pro team. I got the Ducks and the Blazers.
And so they have these universities that they root for.
They root for.
I'm sorry. I'm not I come from elsewhere.
See, I'm a bleed green and yellow.
Faz was telling me the Oregon Ducks football team got 3 hat tricks in the last game.
I told you that. I don't watch football.
Wrong football.
I love it.
No, they are famous. A lot of great players have come out of the Oregon Ducks. That coach, unfortunately, I forget his name. He went to the NFL and fell flat on his face.
Chip Kelly's UCLA.
Yeah. He's better off in college, but that system that he had worked really well up there.
Oh, it broke college football. That's cool.
What else you guys got? You guys want to get into this Gala stuff, being an hour into this already?
What Gala stuff you talking about, sir?
The flurry of announcements, more talk about what's going to come out in 2023. and a bunch of big changes to the Gala ecosystem.
Let's focus you front and center here, so we can.
The hell are you focusing me for?
Because you're the one with the goods. Share the goods.
I have no goods. So, our producer could pop up the Medium article that was written for the Forged in Crypto Medium.
Well, how would our producer find that? Where would
I sent her a link?
Ah.
Yeah, I sent her a link. I'm a step ahead
Or
once in a while.
If you go to medium.com/@forgedencrypto, it will also take you directly to our site.
Pretty easy. Everything where we're at is Forged in Crypto. Like,
Whoops, wrong one. That's the Bigtime
Bigtime.
article. Can you pop the other one up,
you
please?
said there, man.
No, I probably shouldn't have sent her two links so close together.
Gala update. What's going on?
There we go.
So
What is going on?
Yeah, this article was fantastic, right? So I was sifting through all of these announcements, all the news, listening to the people complain and the people cheer. And I popped on this article and I'm like, that got it right there. That got it. So I think the biggest, at least to me, the biggest news is the quote, and I use heavy quotes with the word burn here, for products on the Gala store that are bought with the Gala token. Those tokens, they're saying, are being burnt. And you guys did a really good job of explaining that at the back end. So it's not so much a burn. They can use the word burn because initially they're burned, but they're not sent to the zero address per se. They are eliminated for the moment, and they are to be recycled into the Founders Node ecosystem. And I'm guessing it's a way to help fund that moving forward for the Founders Node owners. That was kind of big news, and it was kind of shocking to me that they would go that direction. What do you guys think about this burn and remint thing that they're cooking up here with these store buys?
I'm kind of wondering where they're going with that and why. I'm kind of fine with them leaving the tokenomics alone, but it seems that there's been a lot of tokenomics changing recently. With Flare. Flare's had a tokenomics change recently. We should talk about them after this. But, what can we really count on with crypto stuff? I thought the stuff was just you buy into a coin, they start doing their thing, and then you're fine with it. But they keep changing the story whenever they issue a coin and start changing the tokenomics.
Well, there's not only tokenomics changes like this, where, and they've used the words in some of their marketing, creating more utility, right, for the Gala token. There should have been utility right up front, and this should be adding to the already existing utility. So one of the other big announcements that came out was that they were eliminating certain tokens, gaming tokens from their platform, such as Town, right? They were eliminating Town and moving straight into having Townstar utilize the Gala token moving forward. They said they're going to keep Materium. The last I heard, and correct me if I'm behind in my information, they were going to keep Silk for the time being, but they were moving away from the Town coin. I have a lot I want to say about that, but there's not a lot that I can say because of the walls of Gala Gold and Gala Platinum.
Well, I feel like I feel like they made a big deal about coming up with all games are going to have their own separate coin. And at the time, Titan and I used to argue about that. And I'd listed out all the advantages of having separate coins. Like they could have their own economic levers that they could pull, and they can isolate the damage per game and stuff like that. And it seems to me like they can't handle that. Like, it's like, okay, this is not going to work because this takes some real skill. I thought they had that skill, to be dead honest, but really they're just going to lump it. I get the sense that they're just going to take the easy way out, which is lump everything onto the Gala coin. And okay, what that means is you can make a lot of money in spider tanks and then spend it all in Townstar. And when you have separate coins, there's economic levers there to where you could make all your money in spider tanks and get it as silk, and then you'd have to. It's kind of hard to switch that money over to Townstar. You still can, but there's a trade, and people, this is. I feel like it's going to be harder to really control the economies, and yes, I think they do want to control the economies for each of these games. So getting back to, well, maybe I should explain this a little bit differently. Okay, I'm gonna mute you, Titan. You can bleed one game dry of value while pumping up another game, if you all use the same coin. That's kind of my concern. At least if you have separate coins, you could slow that down. But maybe they're fine. They just introduced something else like an honor system to where you just wouldn't get the coin to begin with. That works too, I guess.
Well, I think it goes both ways. I think you can have one game can help if it's a whole economy of games, right? One game is doing well, it helps another game that may not be doing as well, right? And it's not just about potentially bleeding a game out, but creating a whole ecosystem. This was their original vision in the first place, anyway. Gala was the one token to rule them all, and then they would have in-game tokens that were only exchangeable out into.
Why
Gala.
did they switch? Did they ever give a reason?
No, but you can hypothesize for some reasons.
I mean, that's a whole lot of extra work to come up with additional coins.
Is it? I don't think it's a lot of extra work. I think it's a lot of it's especially, let's look at what they started with, Townstar. There was literally no tokenomics for Townstar. It was put your stuff on a town, earn a bunch of town. That was it. There's no extra work for that.
Well,
hardly anything.
You would spend it. You would spend town in their store, so there was some utility for town.
Yeah, well, let's not go too far down that
Let's
road.
not kid ourselves.
Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the writing was on the wall there. So, I mean, there's a lot of money to be made by creating another token. Overall, I mean,
so are you saying
right there
that there's no game economic value to have separate coins per game?
No, I think there can be. I think I prefer, if you're a ecosystem like Gala, I think that your ecosystem should be ran by your token, because that's what you're doing. You're promoting, you're putting the time and effort into these games. You're selling the NFTs. I think your token should be the one that's the utility token. Outside of that, if there's single games like Alluvium, right? It's its own game, or EVIO, right? You're going to have your own token. And EVIO doesn't even really have a token. It literally just has a database token. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion. I think we've seen Townstar fail, and it was supposed to be Towncoin coming back. I actually liked their tokenomics that they were going to bring into play.
I think they failed, honestly, because they never fucking put syncs in the game, which
oh yeah, 100%.
You and I talked about a year and a half ago.
No, they talked about it when they first brought up they put in the Towncoin to start with. They said they're bringing syncs.
So it's not that, frankly, in my opinion, it's not that Towncoin failed. It's they didn't finish the job. They literally did not finish the game, and the game is still in a somewhat unfinished state. And so, of course, the coin just couldn't make it. Now they're getting rid of the coin. It's like, to me, they're just like, okay, let's just cut out all the crap that we can to make this the easiest game that we can to get it out the door quickest. That's what I'm kind of getting right now.
Well, it's not only that. It's and I've complained about this so many times over the past year and a half. These are all shoot from the hip decisions. It comes out of nowhere. And these are like major decisions, and it hits the community with no warning.
I would argue with that, but Bitbender said on CFA when somebody asked about it, gee, I didn't even know about this till Benefactor said something, right?
Okay, and oh boy, I can go off on this. So, how the hell? Listen,
my ass. Here you go.
Listen. So, how in the hell is anybody supposed to trust anything that Bitbender, Robotron, or anybody says if Benefactor just on a whim changes his mind, decides to make this big announcement? Why is the senior leadership team not a team? Why is somebody making a decision and not telling anybody?
Well, okay, wait a minute. What we don't know, let's be fair. What we don't know is who did talk about it. Is Bitbender, their marketing guy, part of this inner team that decides the features of all the games and their economics? That's the question. My understanding is no, he's not. So that's what I want to push back on you. If you're going to give him a hard time, it sounds like you're saying, well, he should just know everything.
No, I'm not saying anything about Bitbender. You're putting words in my mouth. What I'm saying is, if the leadership team is not on the same page, how is the rest of the company supposed to be on the same page? How is the dev team supposed to build a game if Benefactor is just going to change his mind about a coin and not tell anybody about it?
Oh, tell me, there's a ton of companies that do that all the time. You just don't know about it. That's
because the companies are irrelevant. That's why we don't know about the companies.
No, I'm talking about big companies. There's other companies out there that are non-crypto that do that shit all the time. The difference with Gala Games is they say this shit to you. They tell you a lot of their internals. And of course, everybody has a comment when that happens.
So let's get back to the question. How do you trust what Bitbender says when he said himself he doesn't have the information?
That's your question, not mine.
It's a question, and I'd love to hear your opinion on
Nate,
how you can do that.
I don't have an alternate plan for their tokenomics, dude.
Here's the thing. In anything that we're doing here, because we're, investing our time and our money into Gala, into these other gaming companies, Bigtime, EVIO, all this stuff, we take the responsibility upon ourselves to do that. And
gambling. Or gambling.
Sure.
Let's admit it.
Sure. But I mean, gamblers make money with, really precise decisions that go on. It all depends on your information.
Do gamblers start yelling at the things they're gambling on? God damn it. They
you know what? It does happen. It actually does happen in certain scenarios, especially in sports betting. But when you look at gambling in and of itself, it's people who are doing it professionally are doing it because they have exact numbers. They know how the game is played, and that comes down to what Titan's saying is, if they're going to continually change the rules on us at every 3 to 6 months and change things around, you can't make very good decisions upon that. So it makes it difficult for people to stay on board as you move down those roads.
Okay, I have a company. It's just for my trading stuff. But if I made my company's actions public, if people started making bets based upon what I would do with my company, I tell them to go fuck themselves if they got angry with me that I did thing A when when it appeared that I was going to do thing B. Yep. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about Gala. They're a private company. They don't owe anything to anybody. They do tell people what they're doing. They say they go on the Discord. They give people insight on what they're doing. And all of a sudden, everybody and their brother is like, look, motherfucker, I spent $20,000 on you. Yeah, you gambled.
Here's the thing, though. That's Gala's fault, too, by making themselves so public, right? In the public eye and going out there, because people are going to expect more. The more you give them, the more information you do give them, the more they're going to get it back. Now, they're in between a rock and a hard place. They need the players and they need the public that's here right now to come in and play their games and promote their games and do that thing. and if they're going to continually change it, they're going to burn. They already have. I mean, they've lost a ton of their community because of the changes that come out. Now
there are millions more people out there.
Oh, sure, 100%. But there's not millions of more people that are into crypto and crypto gaming. I'll put it that way. Like you're going down a route that is.
Shut up, Titan.
But now I will say this: like when I look at changes, like I'm a very fluid person when it comes to a lot of crypto, especially if you've been in it for a while. You gotta be able to change and pivot, right? A lot of these things that they're doing is probably due to the SEC and a lot of stuff that's going on, and this will tie into the Flare thing. But ultimately, I actually like the changes that they're bringing forward. I'm a node owner. That Gala is, right? So I'm a node owner.
I'm a node owner. I'm going to benefit. Sure, give me more Gala for my node. I like that.
I think that the Gala token for the entire ecosystem is a better change. I think it's going to be good for the games. I like the fact that they bought a mobile gaming company with, whether it was just now or 9 to 12 months ago, nobody really knows. But I think I think they're good changes, and I think they help out the Gala ecosystem. I think it helps out Web3 if they can stick to it. And this is what I've written on Twitter and everything else. Like, these are great as long as they can stick to these things. But what's going to happen when we get to the next bull run, and there's a lot of money flashing around, and there's ways to capture that? Are they going to maintain their path, or are they going to veer off and create another game token to capture that upside? I don't know. So
I think that was very well spoken, Nate. So this isn't a beat up on Gala thing. This is a WTF moment. And I think a lot of Betty said it well earlier, right? Bigtime is focused on the community. The CEO, the leadership team is listening to the community. And Gala says a lot of times that they listen to the community. I don't think they do. And there's a word that is been dropped a lot more lately in conversations about this, and it's the word dysfunction. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a description of what the appearance is. When one hand says something that the other hand doesn't know or can support or has to support blindly, that creates a little crevice of mistrust in that community. And there are people like, I'm not going to call them out by name, but there's several very high-profile people in the Gala ecosystem who have spent quite literally 40 hours creating proposals and plans that will dramatically better the Gala ecosystem. And they haven't even gotten as much as an acknowledgement for it. And the community will have, 30, 40, 50 people behind this wonderful proposal that was put out. And they're just ignored. And so that is another chink in the trust. And then the direction changes are a chink in the trust. And then you have this long onboarding cycle that you can go back into some of these channels and hear thousands of suggestions on how to make it better. All of us here have talked about it for a while. They don't seem to care. We've gotten to a point where a lot of people are just like, you know what? I'm done giving advice because they're not listening, and they're taking their focus and their money and their time and their attention and their excitement, and they're going to move it to other platforms like Bigtime. And Gala's going to end up getting themselves lost in the dust.
Okay, I gotta show the new banner. This has been a Titan WTF moment.
I don't think Gala gets lost in the dust. I think that they have a lot going for them. I mean, just the games alone, they have really good games. I mean, Spider Tanks is a good game, and apparently, it's going mobile. Like that's Jake's new title on his YouTube deal.
He's paid to say they're going mobile. That doesn't mean they're going mobile.
Well, they got a mobile company, man. Come on. It's like given now, right? I mean, it's a mobile game, but Superior is a really good game. That's a great game. I mean, there's plenty of games.
Stop being cynical, Titan.
Yeah,
No.
I think there's reason to. There's definitely reason to, but there's also reason to look at the fact that they are a giant in the Web3 gaming industry with the games that they have, and they can do a really good thing. They can.
Okay, so I'll agree with the last two words that you said.
They can.
They can. They haven't. They're not, but they can.
Wait. Hold on. They haven't. They haven't.
They
done
have
anything?
not. They have not.
Well, I mean, I gotta disagree with you. They have games that you can play. Yes.
Okay. What is on the front page of their website?
I've
Creating
been on the website in 100 years.
Creating games that you actually want to play, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Who wants to play Town Star?
Touché.
There's about 800 people. All right. That play Town Star. There's about 800 people. I think 600 people now. Right? About 600 people now that play Spider Tanks, and most of them are only doing it to try an ROI because they're in tears. Nate, I've got to give this to you because of all the bullshit that I talk about Gala. You do say it well. They can. And we're all in the they can part. The problem is that they're not at the moment. What if they actually delivered? They delivered a game that a few people play in Town Star, but they just totally wiped out the entire token for it.
This is what happens with Titan. Once he gets going, he can't stop. And then he just says it, and then this is crap, and then this is crap, and then fuck all of it, man. This is
no, it's not crap.
They haven't delivered a goddamn thing.
They haven't. They deliver promises. They deliver, this is what we're going to do, and then they don't. So I told them this year, deliver. And deliver doesn't mean throw out an alpha that you can play for a week and a half and then it disappears. Deliver something. Deliver the L1 blockchain. That means an audit. That means keys. That means a connection with a wallet. Your blockchain is not a blockchain until we see an audit.
So they are delivering
a connection, right? That's delivery.
No. That's when you arbitrarily decide what delivery means. You can make anybody look bad. Compare them to other games. Compare them to Bigtime games or to EVIO or something. There's a difference. And so that way, at least when you make a comparison that you could judge everybody else by, you're consistent. But this whole yanking things now and later, Spider Tanks works. It's out there. It's P2E. They've telegraphed it. They've sold the NFTs for it. They have an ecosystem that you don't like, but it's there and it's working. Great. Bigtime Games has that too. But Bigtime Games only has one game. Gala has more. Townstar is doing the same thing. They have a Superior out. And no, they're not complete, but they have delivered something and it works.
Well, let's call 2023 the year of they can.
Or show me.
Show me.
Show me.
I mean, that's really where I'm at too. When I say they can, that's where I'm at too. Like I've been in here for a long time, being a supporter in a lot of different facets of it, and they lost me with the path that they were going on, and so I was excited with the announcements, but I'm also hesitant to see that they actually are going to, lay those out and do what they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about. And when Bitbender was in, there were people beating the snot out of him in the Gala stuff room at CFA.
Oh yeah.
And I sat on Saturday because I was pushing hard on the Thune list. And we negotiated, we talked about it, we got through it. The community was happy. We got the Thune list sorted out. That's huge. And people still people still wanted to shit on Bitbender for that stuff, and I said, wait, no, stop. He's dinging things off this list. They deserve some credit here. And that's really what it's all about. They've got to go ding. And they've got to go ding, not by saying, oh, something's coming, you're going to love it. It's great. No, wait, buy this first, and then you're going to love it. That's not how it works. They have to throw it out there and make it happen.
You know, if you were just a normal person following Gala games, you'd never be able to buy any of the damn NFTs. So, you know, all these people that are bitching about NFTs, they actually have the fucking money to do this stuff. I mean, I don't see my kids going, God damn it, I wish I had $10,000. To me, Gala Games is not advertising toward the typical gamer, and you will know the moment that they do. However,
but
I don't
that's
think
the problem.
I don't think they are right now, because the more gamers that get into it right now, the more likely the SEC will get involved.
Well, I want to point out something Knight's talking about in the chat. He's talking about Superior and Townstar and the amount of players, and he's wondering why they don't push Superior, right? Because it's a great game, but they're not pushing as much. It's
not their game.
It's not their game. It's the fact that they only have 600 players in Gala, period, or 800 or 1,000, whatever it is. It's not very much. So they can't keep pushing other games because you take away from it. That's what we saw with Spider Tanks, right? Spider Tanks came out. It was like, that was the game. Yeah, oh, it's awesome. Everybody's earning. And then they start doing these play tests, right? You get Superior, you get Echoes of Empire, you get the whatever the card game one was. And you start to see and then the Spider Tanks economy starts to dip. And so you're taking those players away. They need players to come in to actually test these games in an environment that has more than 100 people playing at a time.
And that is huge for what Faz just said, because Faz, do you see the disconnect? This is what I mean when I say dysfunction. They're marketing towards people who have money, not towards gamers who play games. There's a whole bunch of dysfunction going on. The right hand doesn't know who to market for the left hand to go get.
I think
all right.
I think that just really quick, I think that goes to hopefully the 20 million gamers on the mobile gaming studio. If you can start to onboard them in a manner that makes it really easy for them, I think you're going to start to get the players. So they have games. Get the players over it. It'll be great. So, but I think
that is a forged in crypto WTF moment. I forgot to provide the banner for that.
Well, I think a lot of the changes that they're making with Townstar and Silk, the one token, the burns, the recycle, I don't know, all this kind of stuff that's going on there. I think a lot of stuff might be pushed from the SEC, and I think that's why you see the Flare stuff too that you guys are going to bring up.
So let's get into Flare, and then we need to get going, because I was going to take our producer out for pizza. And
that's only 5 o'clock. You're good.
And I'm hungry.
What, you didn't eat right at the beginning of the podcast?
I did, actually. It's been 2 fucking hours, dude. We had the green room before that. By the way, I might as well advertise the green room. We do have a premium program here, and if you pay $2 a month, you can watch our Faz Radio Green Room, which is a show just like this. But it's like before the show, and it's all the banter that we have before the show. $2 a month, or for a special limited time, you can just boost the server, the CryptoFaz Academy server, and you get the same benefits. That's it. That's my plug.
Are we gonna talk Flare? Are you done? You too hungry to?
Did you stop eating popcorn or whatever the fuck you're eating?
No, I haven't eaten since last night. I went to work all day, and my wife was kind enough to sneak in behind me and drop me off a hot ham and cheese sandwich and some French fries.
That doesn't sound very carnivore to me.
It's not. I've got to get back to that because I'm getting fat again. Where's my Rolos? I got a bag of Rolos around here somewhere. I love frickin' Rolos. So this Flare airdrop finally happens after 2 years. All right. And we get the distribution, and it took me forever to find it. I was panicking because I couldn't see it. I did it through the ledger. And so I couldn't see it on the ledger. I was panicking. I'm like, oh, I fucked it up when I did it. I didn't get my tokens. I can see it in MetaMask, though, so I see them there. And so they came out with an improvement to Flare, which has caused the huge kerfuffle on Twitter and among the savvy versus not so savvy interpreters of said improvement process, Flare improvement process. It's number one, and if you have your Flare tokens in a wallet that allows for delegation, and you go delegate those tokens, well, you got to wrap them first, wrap them, then delegate them. They let you practice with Songbird. It's the exact same thing. So with that, you can then vote on that proposal. And the way the Flare airdrop was originally scheduled to go is they were going to drop 15% in your wallet at once, which is what took place the other day. And then over the next 36 months, they're going to drop in chunks the rest of that total claim that you have for owning XRP at the time of that snapshot, and that would be paid out to you. And that was to avoid the large XRP holders who got a very, very large delegation and airdrop of Flare to immediately sell and totally crash the network, right? So they decided to put it out. So immediately the non-savvies who didn't read it correctly said, oh, this improvement process is saying that they're not going to pay out the other 85%. They're trying to claw it back, and they're not going to pay it, and they're scammers and everything else. So that's true and that's not true, okay? So what this proposal is saying is that if you were to take the 15% that was given to you, you go wrap it, you go delegate it, you will then qualify for monthly airdrops over the next 36 months of an equal amount of the pool of tokens that was airdropped. If you don't delegate, you don't get any more airdrops. So they're basically forcing people to delegate if they want to receive more tokens from this airdrop.
Is delegation like a benefit to the blockchain? Why would they want to encourage people to delegate in this case?
I don't know the Flare network well enough to say that whether it's proof of stake or anything like that. It is encouraging people to similarly sort of like stake it. I don't know if that goes with security or how that benefits the ecosystem. Perhaps someone smarter than me knows that. I have not gone very deep recently back into Flare. I did a year or two ago when we took the snapshot, but I haven't been since, so I don't want to give wrong information out.
I'm not an XRP guy, so I just got Flare and I just went and delegated just because I saw I was supposed to. I have no clue.
I still have yet to delegate my Flare. I should be doing that soon. Maybe I'll Titan talk it through it again.
Yeah, it's the wallet they created for Songbird was Bifrost.
Jesse tweeted out. He retweeted somebody, and it was a super easy step-by-step in that. Just look at that. It was really easy.
Okay. Could somebody look that up and pop it on screen because other people might be interested?
Yeah, I can do that right now.
Yay.
Nice.
And then I want to start wrapping this up because I'm hungry, and I don't want to get hangry.
Hungry, not hangry.
Oh, wait, this one isn't it?
Here, I'll get it. Do you follow Jesse?
I do.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
You said it was today?
It was this morning, early.
Yeah, it was this morning, yeah. And that's what I read. There's if you go to the Flare, which is ftso.au, I believe, it explains it to where, you know, they're explaining, look, you only lose future claim on your airdrop amount if you don't delegate. That's what this proposal is doing.
It's a proposal.
So, right, it hasn't passed or failed yet. So if it fails, it'll go back to the original way.
And those who can vote on the proposal are the ones who delegate, correct?
Who wrap and delegate their tokens. That right. So you've got to wrap it first, and then you get to vote. And it costs virtually nothing. It's like 1/1000th of a penny, 1/1000th of a flare to wrap it, and the same to delegate it. And this is not an endorsement of a wallet, because I don't want somebody coming back saying, the wallet that we talked about scammed them out of their tokens or whatever. But I do know, because I've used it with Songbird, is Bifrost, Bifrost wallet. It's a mobile wallet in the App Store on Apple and Google Play on the Google platform. It has been functional for me since the Songbird airdrop. It makes it extremely easy to wrap and delegate your tokens. And of course, you get your own seed phrase. It's not custodial, but it is obviously a hot wallet.
All right. And on that note, I'm going to start wrapping things up. We all appreciate you. We appreciate you guys coming over and listening to us rant for 1 hour and 36 minutes and 9 seconds. And for those who paid $2 more, you did it for 30 minutes longer. So I forgot to do
I wouldn't plug that as a plus, Faz.
I forgot to do our story time today, because did we have any stories today? Oh, I should have popped that up. Anyway, where is our logo here? Nope, that's the wrong one. I have another logo here. This one. But that's in the background. There we go. Hey, how did we make those pictures go away? That was cool. All right. All right, I'm going to end it. Thank you guys very much. Any last words, Titan?
Thanks for listening. Guys, it's a pleasure to talk to you on Thursdays. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All Take it easy.
All right, Blake, you got to head out.
Oh, wait, Titan. We have our pre-recorded outro to do. Can you say your thing so that people will know?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, subscribe, and throw some comments below. That helps us, which in turn helps us provide you with much, much better content every week. Thanks for being a listener. Thanks for supporting the channel.
And thanks for sitting through our pre-recorded outro.